Zara's tentacles moved smoothly as she wiped down the counter of the cosmic diner. The space station restaurant floated between three solar systems, making it a perfect stop for travelers from across the galaxy. She had served hundreds of different species in her 5 years working here, but today would be different. The door chimed and a new customer walked in. Zara had heard about humans but never seen one before. This one was male, medium height, with brown hair and tired eyes. He wore the standard jumpsuit of cargo ship pilots. "Welcome to the Cosmic Diner," Zara said, her translator converting her clicks and whistles into the human's language. "I'm Zara. First time here?" The human smiled and sat at the counter. "Yeah, first time. I'm Jake. Just started this cargo route last week." Zara handed him a menu pad. "Let me know if you need help understanding any of our dishes. We serve food from 47 different worlds." Jake scrolled through the options, then looked up with an embarrassed expression. "Actually, do you have anything simple? Maybe just some eggs and toast? I know that's boring, but my stomach's a bit sensitive today." "Of course!" Zara typed the order into her pad. "One Earth-style breakfast coming up." As she moved to the kitchen window to place the order, her friend Crix floated over. The Nebulian's gaseous form shimmered with curiosity. "Is that really a human?" Crix whispered. "I've heard such strange things about them." "Seems normal enough," Zara replied. "Just ordered breakfast." "Breakfast? But it's the middle of the station's day cycle." Zara shrugged, a movement that rippled through all 6 of her tentacles. "Different species, different schedules." When she brought Jake his food, he thanked her warmly and began eating. Zara tried not to stare, but she was fascinated. The way humans used those small metal tools to lift food to their mouths seemed so inefficient compared to her tentacles. "How's everything?" she asked after a few minutes. "Perfect," Jake said. "Just what I needed. Hey, you don't happen to know what time the supply shop opens? I need to stock up on some Earth food for my ship." "They open in about 2 hours," Zara said. "Making a long journey?" 3-month round trip to the Vega system. That's why I need supplies. Can't exactly find human food out there." 3 months? Zara's large eyes widened. "Don't humans hibernate on long journeys?" Jake laughed. "Hibernate? No, we stay awake the whole time. Why would we hibernate?" "Most species do," Zara explained. "The Gronks slow their metabolism to almost nothing. The ethereals enter a meditative trance. Even my people reduce our consciousness to conserve energy." "Humans don't work that way," Jake said. "We stay active. Actually, that reminds me. Do you know if there's a gym on this station? I need to keep up my exercise routine." "Exercise?" Zara had never heard the word before. Her translator struggled with it. "Physical activity. Moving around, lifting weights, running. We have to do it regularly or our bodies get weak." Zara's confusion must have shown on her face because Jake continued. "Humans need to stress our muscles regularly or they deteriorate. Most of us try to exercise at least once a day." "Every day?" Zara couldn't hide her shock. "You intentionally tire yourselves out every single day?" "Well, yeah. It's good for us. Keeps us healthy and strong." Before Zara could ask more questions, another customer called for her attention. She excused herself, but her mind kept wandering back to the strange human at the counter. When she returned, Jake had finished his meal and was looking at something on his personal device. "Everything okay?" she asked. "Just checking the time," Jake said. "I should probably get going soon. Need to grab lunch before the supply shop opens." "Lunch?" Zara blinked. "But you just ate." Jake chuckled. "That was breakfast. I'll need lunch in about 3 hours, then dinner tonight." 3 meals? In one day cycle? "Actually, I usually eat 5 times a day," Jake said casually. "Breakfast, mid-morning snack, lunch, afternoon snack, and dinner. Sometimes a late-night snack, too, if I'm up working." Zara's tentacles went rigid with surprise. She couldn't help herself. She grabbed her pad and quickly calculated. 5 times? But that's 35 meals in a week cycle, 150 in a month. I guess, yeah. Never really counted it up like that. How is that possible? Zara asked. My species eats once every 3 days. The crystallites absorb energy once a week. Even the Morphax, who are known for their appetite, only eat twice a day at most. Jake shrugged. Humans have fast metabolisms. We burn through energy quickly, so we need to refuel often. That's just how we're built. But don't you spend all your time eating? Not really. Each meal doesn't take that long. Maybe 15 to 30 minutes for a proper meal, less for snacks. Though I do spend a lot of time thinking about food, Jake admitted with a grin. Planning what to eat, shopping for ingredients, cooking. Food's a big part of human culture. Zara was fascinated. She pulled up a stool with 2 of her tentacles while the others continued wiping down the counter. Tell me more. This is so different from what I know. Jake seemed happy to talk. Well, humans are omnivores, so we eat both plants and meat. We need a variety of nutrients to stay healthy. Can't just live on one type of food like some species. The Vigoids only consume starlight, Zara mentioned. Very efficient. Must be nice, Jake said. Humans need proteins, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, minerals, the list goes on, and we can't produce most of them ourselves, so we have to get them from food. That seems like a design flaw, Zara said without thinking, then quickly added, I apologize, that was rude. But Jake just laughed. No offense taken. You're not wrong. We're pretty high maintenance compared to other species, but there are advantages too. Like what? Well, our varied diet means we can survive almost anywhere. As long as there's some form of organic matter, we can usually find something to eat. We've adapted to consume thousands of different foods. Plus, our need for regular meals means we've gotten really good at food preparation. Human cuisine is pretty popular across the galaxy, from what I've heard. Zara had to admit this was true. She'd served human-style dishes to many non-human customers. There was something about the way humans combined flavors that other species found appealing. But 5 times a day, she mused. How do you get anything done? You learn to multitask, Jake said. Eat while you work, have meetings over meals, that sort of thing. Actually, sharing meals is a big social thing for humans. It's how we bond with each other. Every day? Pretty much. Breakfast with family, lunch with co-workers, dinner with friends. Food brings people together. Zara was taking mental notes. This was the most interesting conversation she'd had in months. What happens if you don't eat 5 times a day? We get hungry, Jake said simply. Then hangry. That's hungry and angry combined. Then we start getting weak, dizzy, can't think straight. Go too long without food and we'll pass out. Keep it up and we'll die. Die? From missing a few meals? Well, it takes weeks to actually starve to death, Jake clarified. But we start feeling the effects within hours. Skip breakfast and by noon you're dragging. Miss lunch too and you'll have a headache by dinner time. Hours? Zara was astounded. My people feel no hunger for days. The stone men can go months without consuming minerals. Like I said, high maintenance, Jake grinned. But we make up for it in other ways. Our bodies are pretty adaptable. We can eat almost anything organic, survive in a wide range of temperatures, heal from injuries that would kill other species. And you need to exercise daily, too, Zara remembered. Plus eat 5 times. How do humans have time for anything else? We're good at routines, Jake explained. Wake up, eat breakfast, work, snack, work, lunch, work, snack, work. Dinner, relax, sleep. Fit in exercise somewhere. It becomes automatic after a while. Another customer entered the diner, a tall Altarian whose scales glowed soft blue. Zara knew she should attend to them, but she was too engrossed in the conversation. Crix, she called to her gaseous friend. Can you help the new customer? I'm conducting important cultural research. Crix floated over to the Altarian, while Zara turned back to Jake. Do all humans eat this often? Pretty much. Some eat more, some less, but 5 times is average. Athletes and physical workers might eat 6 or 7 times. Growing teenagers can seem like they never stop eating. Teenagers? Young humans, they're still developing, so they need even more food. I remember being 16 and eating everything in sight. My mom used to joke that I had a black hole for a stomach. Zara tried to imagine it. The resource requirements alone seemed staggering. How does your planet support so many humans all eating so frequently? Agriculture, Jake said. We've gotten very good at growing food. Farming, ranching, fishing. We've industrialized the whole process. Though it does cause some problems, environmental damage, resource depletion, we're working on more sustainable methods. This explains so much, Zara said, more to herself than to Jake. I always wondered why humans were so obsessed with food in their media. Every human show or book seems to feature eating. Food's a big part of our lives, Jake agreed. We plan our days around meals, celebrate with special foods, comfort ourselves with favorite dishes. Hell, half our holidays revolve around specific meals. Holidays have meals? Oh yeah, Christmas dinner, Thanksgiving feast, 4th of July barbecue, birthday cake. Food is how we mark special occasions. Zara's mind was spinning with all this new information. She'd served thousands of customers from hundreds of species, but none had such a complex relationship with food as humans apparently did. Is that why human restaurants are so popular? She asked. Because eating is so important to you? Probably, Jake said. We've turned food into an art form. Thousands of years of having to eat multiple times a day means we've had plenty of practice making it enjoyable. Why just fuel your body when you can have an experience? The door chimed again, and 3 more humans walked in. They wore matching uniforms, probably crew from the same ship. Hey, Jake, one of them called out. This where you've been hiding? Just grabbing breakfast, Jake called back. This is Zara. She's been teaching me about alien dining customs. More like you've been teaching me, Zara said. She turned to the newcomers. Welcome to the Cosmic Diner. Let me guess, you're all here for breakfast too. Actually, the tallest human said, checking his wrist device. It's about time for our mid-morning snack. We had breakfast 2 hours ago. Zara's tentacles twitched in amazement. It was true. All humans really did eat 5 times a day. I'll get you some menus, she said, reaching for more pads. And I have so many questions. The humans laughed and settled in at a booth. Jake stood to join them but paused at the counter. Thanks for the chat, Zara. Most aliens look at us like we're crazy when they find out about our eating habits. Not crazy, Zara assured him. Just very different. I'd love to learn more. Will you be coming back? Every day while I'm on station, Jake promised. Gotta eat after all. 5 times a day, remember? As Zara moved to serve the new table, she couldn't help but marvel at these strange creatures called humans. 5 meals a day, every single day, for their entire lives. The logistics alone were mind-boggling. But as she watched them studying the menu, debating options and laughing together, she began to understand. For humans, food wasn't just fuel. It was connection, culture, and comfort all rolled into one. So, she said, approaching their table with her pad ready, let me guess. You'll want to know about our lunch specials for later, too? The humans grinned at her. You're learning, Jake said with a wink. Better make a note. We'll be back in 3 hours. Zara made the note, already looking forward to it. These humans might be the most high-maintenance species she'd ever encountered, but they were also the most interesting. And she had a feeling her little diner was about to become a lot more busy. 3 hours later, just as Jake had promised, the humans returned. This time, there were 7 of them crowding into the Cosmic Diner. Zara watched with amazement as they pushed 2 tables together, chattering constantly about their morning activities. "Told you they'd be back," Crix whispered, his gaseous form flickering with interest. "Right on schedule, too." Zara glided over to their table, her tentacles carrying multiple menu pads. She'd spent the past 3 hours researching human dietary needs on the galactic network, and what she'd learned had left her even more astounded. "Welcome back," she said. "Ready for lunch?" "Starving," one of the women said. "That protein bar I had for a snack barely made a dent." "Protein bar?" Zara asked. "Emergency food," Jake explained. "When we can't get a proper meal, we eat condensed nutrition bars. Not very tasty, but they keep us going." "You carry emergency food? Even though you just ate 3 hours ago?" The humans exchanged amused glances. 3 hours is a long time when you're human," the woman said. "I'm Sarah, by the way, ship's engineer." "Pleased to meet you," Zara said. "I've been learning about human nutritional requirements. Apparently, you need approximately 2,000 to 2,500 calories per day." "Depends on activity level," another human chimed in. He was older, with gray streaking his hair. "I'm Marcus, ship's captain. I need about 3,000 calories a day because I work out every morning." "Every morning?" Crix had floated closer, unable to contain his curiosity. 6 days a week, Marcus confirmed. 1 rest day for recovery. Zara pulled out her pad, unable to resist taking notes. "And you all exercise this frequently?" The humans nodded. Sarah lifted her arm and flexed, showing defined muscles. "Have to maintain bone density and muscle mass in space. Use it or lose it." "My species maintains the same body composition from maturity until death," Zara said. "No maintenance required." "Lucky," Jake said. "Humans start losing muscle mass in their 30s if they don't actively work to keep it. And in zero gravity, we can lose 20% of our muscle mass in just 5 to 11 days without exercise." "Days?" Crix's form swirled in shock. "Not years or decades? Days?" "Human bodies are adapted for Earth gravity," Marcus explained. "Take that away and we start deteriorating fast. That's why every human ship has a mandatory exercise requirement. 2 hours minimum per day in space." 2 hours of intentional exhaustion," Zara murmured, making more notes. "On top of eating 5 times. "Speaking of eating," Sarah said, eyeing the menu. "What's good here? I need something with lots of protein. Had a tough workout this morning." Zara recommended several dishes, her mind still processing everything she was learning. The humans ordered an astounding amount of food, enough to feed her entire family for a week. As she transmitted their orders to the kitchen, the cook, a 4-armed Balatrian named Cork, emerged from the back. "Zara," Cork said, his voice worried, "are you sure this order is correct? 7 full meals, all double portions?" "They're humans," Zara explained. "They need massive amounts of food." "I've heard rumors," Cork said, his 4 arms gesturing expressively. "But I didn't believe them. Do they really eat 5 times a day?" "Confirmed," Zara said. "And they'll be back for dinner in another 5 or 6 hours." Cork's eyes widened. "I better prep more ingredients. At this rate, 7 humans will go through more food than the rest of our customers combined." As Zara returned to the dining area, she noticed other customers staring at the human table. Word was spreading through the station about these strange beings who ate constantly. A group of Centaurians at a nearby table clicked their mandibles in disbelief. "5 times?" one of them said to another. "How have they not evolved past such inefficiency?" Zara found herself feeling defensive of her new human friends. "Actually," she said to the Centaurians, "I've been researching it. Their frequent eating gives them advantages. They can adapt to almost any environment because they can process so many different food sources." "Still seems wasteful," the Centaurian replied. "Tell that to their explorers," Jake called over, having overheard. Humans have spread further through the galaxy than most species precisely because we can eat almost anything. Your people need specific minerals found only on certain planets. We can survive on whatever's available. The conversation attracted more attention. Soon, several other customers had gathered around, all curious about human eating habits. "Is it true you consume other animals?" a herbivorous plotkin asked, her leaves rustling nervously. "We're omnivores," Sarah explained patiently. "We evolved eating both plants and animals, but many humans choose to eat only plants for ethical or health reasons." "And you really die without food for just a few weeks?" another alien asked. 3 weeks without food, 3 days without water, 3 minutes without air," Marcus recited. "That's the human survival rule." 3 days without water? Zara gasped. She'd focused so much on the food aspect that she'd overlooked hydration. "How much water do you need?" "About 2 to 3 liters per day," Jake said. "More if we're active or in hot climates." Zara quickly calculated. "So in addition to 5 meals, you need 3 liters of water every single day for your entire lifespan. Don't forget sleep," Sarah added with a grin. 8 hours a day of complete unconsciousness." "A third of your life unconscious?" Crix's form dimmed with sympathy. "How do you accomplish anything?" "We're very motivated during the 16 hours we're awake," Marcus said dryly. The food arrived, carried by 2 of Cork's arms while his other 2 balanced additional plates. The sheer volume made other customers gasp. Each human had ordered what would be a feast for most species. "This is normal?" Cork asked, fascinated despite himself. "Pretty standard lunch," Jake confirmed, already digging in. "Though the portions here are great. Some places try to serve human-sized meals to everyone and we leave hungry." Zara watched them eat with scientific interest. They used primitive tools, forks, knives, spoons, but wielded them with practiced efficiency. Conversation flowed between bites, the meal clearly serving a social function as much as a nutritional one. "Do you ever get tired of it?" she asked. "The constant eating?" The humans looked at each other, considering. "Sometimes," Sarah admitted. "There are days when I wish I could just photosynthesize or something. But food is pleasure too, not just necessity." "Exactly," Marcus agreed. "Sure, we could survive on nutrition paste or pills. Some long-haul explorers do. But food is about more than survival for humans. It's about enjoyment, community, culture." "My grandmother's recipes," one of the younger humans said wistfully. "Haven't had her cooking in 2 years, but I still dream about it." "See?" Jake said to Zara. "Food is memory for us. Emotion. Connection." A new customer entered the diner, a Vordak, known for their extreme efficiency. The tall, angular being looked at the human table with obvious disdain. "Wasteful," it buzzed. "My kind feeds once per month. We spend our time on important matters, not constant consumption." The humans didn't seem offended. Sarah actually smiled. "What do you do with all that free time?" "We calculate, we plan, we optimize," the Vordak said proudly. "Sounds boring," Jake said cheerfully. "When do you celebrate? When do you gather with family? When do you try new experiences?" The Vordak tilted its geometric head. "These things serve no productive purpose." "Maybe not for you," Marcus said. "But humans are social creatures. We bond over meals. Some of our greatest treaties were negotiated over dinner. Our biggest celebrations revolve around food. Hell, breaking bread together is so important to us that it's become a metaphor for peace." "Inefficient," the Vordak repeated, but with less certainty. "Maybe," Sarah conceded, "but it works for us. Our need for frequent meals drove us to develop agriculture, which led to settlements, which led to civilization. Our very diet meant we had to cooperate, hunters and gatherers working together. We literally built our society around food." Zara was furiously taking notes. This was anthropological gold. So your eating habits shaped your entire culture? More than that, Marcus said. They shaped our evolution. Our big brains, they need glucose, lots of it. About 20% of our caloric intake goes just to powering our brains. That's why we get foggy when we're hungry. Brain runs out of fuel. 20%? Cork had emerged from the kitchen again, drawn by the conversation. Most species use less than 5% for neural function. Human brains are energy hogs, Jake explained. But they let us solve problems, create art, build spaceships, worth the trade-off. Another group of humans entered the diner, these wearing athletic clothing still damp with sweat. They headed straight for a large table, clearly familiar with the place. Post-workout crew, Sarah explained to Zara. They probably just finished at the gym. And now they need to eat again, Zara observed. Even though they just intentionally exhausted themselves. Exercise burns calories, one of the newcomers said, overhearing. Got to refuel. I'm Tom, by the way. We run the human gym on level 12. You run a gym? Zara asked. Just for humans? Other species are welcome, Tom said. But yeah, mostly humans. We need specialized equipment. Weights, cardio machines, resistance bands. Most aliens don't need mechanical assistance to maintain their bodies. We installed artificial gravity generators in there too, his companion added. Can adjust from 0.5 to 2.0 Earth gravity for different training needs. You exercise in increased gravity? Crix sounded horrified. Voluntarily? Makes us stronger, Tom said simply. Train in high gravity. Normal gravity feels easy. Some of us are training for high-gravity worlds. Gotta prepare the body. The complexity of human physical maintenance was staggering. Zara thought about her own species. They absorbed nutrients through their skin during their monthly immersion in mineral pools. Simple, efficient, minimal time investment. How do you schedule everything? She asked. Exercise, 5 meals, 8 hours of sleep, work. It seems impossible. The humans laughed. Welcome to our world, Sarah said. Time management is a crucial human skill. We plan everything around biological needs. I use an app, Jake added, showing his device. Tracks meals, water intake, exercise, sleep. Sends reminders if I forget. You need technology to remember to eat? The Vordak interjected, sounding scandalized. Sometimes, Jake shrugged. Get busy with work and suddenly it's been 6 hours since breakfast. The hunger hits like a hammer. Speaking of which, Marcus checked his time device. We should finish up. Meeting in 30 minutes. But you'll need a snack before dinner, Zara said, proud of her new understanding. Around 3 hours from now? You're getting it, Sarah grinned. Probably just something small. Fruit, nuts, maybe a protein shake. And then dinner, Zara continued, and possibly another snack before sleep. Gold star for the student, Jake laughed. You've mastered human feeding 101. As the first group of humans prepared to leave, paying their substantial bill, more kept arriving. Word had spread that the Cosmic Diner understood human dietary needs, and hungry humans were emerging from all over the station. Cork, Zara called to the cook. We're going to need more supplies. A lot more. Already on it, Cork called back, his forearms working furiously. I've got an emergency order in with the station supply depot. If these humans eat like this all the time, we'll need to triple our food stocks. Quadruple, Zara corrected, watching another group of humans enter. Don't forget they'll all be back for dinner. The Vordak made a disgusted sound and glided out, apparently offended by such biological inefficiency. But Zara noticed it paused at the door, observing the laughing, chattering humans with something that might have been curiosity. You know what I just realized? Crix said, floating beside Zara. In the 5 years we've run this diner, I've never seen customers enjoy their meals as much as these humans do. Zara had to agree. Despite the constant need for food, or perhaps because of it, humans had turned eating into a joyful experience. They savored flavors, shared bites of each other's meals, told stories between courses. "Maybe," she said thoughtfully. "Efficiency isn't everything." "Definitely not," Jake said as he passed by on his way out. "See you in 3 hours for snack time. And Zara, thanks for being so interested. Most aliens think we're freaks for eating so much." "Not freaks," Zara assured him. "Just extraordinarily high maintenance." Jake laughed. "Fair enough. Though wait until you learn about our sleep requirements. 8 hours of unconsciousness, weird dreams, and we need special surfaces to lie on or our backs hurt." "One revelation at a time," Zara said, her mind already overloaded with information about human consumption needs. As the lunch rush continued, she moved between tables, taking orders and answering questions from curious non-human customers who wanted to know if the rumors were true. Yes, humans really ate 5 times a day. Yes, they needed massive quantities of water. Yes, they exercised to exhaustion daily. And yes, despite all these apparent disadvantages, they were thriving across the galaxy. "Maybe," she murmured to herself while delivering another impossibly large meal to a table of human traders. "There's something to be said for being high maintenance." The humans overheard and raised their water glasses in a toast. "To being high maintenance," they chorused, then dug into their meals with obvious pleasure. Zara watched them, no longer seeing the inefficiency, but rather the joy they found in fulfilling their needs. It was a lesson she wouldn't soon forget. Sometimes, the journey was just as important as the destination, even if that journey involved stopping to eat 5 times along the way. 2 weeks had passed since the first humans discovered the cosmic diner. In that short time, everything had changed. Zara stood in the renovated space, marveling at the transformation. What had once been a quiet establishment serving the occasional traveler was now the busiest restaurant on the station. "Morning, Zara," Jake called out as he entered, leading a group of new human arrivals. "Got fresh recruits for you. This is their first time off planet." The young humans looked around with wide eyes, clearly overwhelmed by their first exposure to alien culture. Zara glided over, her movements now practiced and confident around her human customers. "Welcome to the Cosmic Diner," she said warmly. "First time away from Earth? Don't worry, we'll take good care of you. Fair warning, though. Our portions are now human-sized, so don't order like you're at an alien establishment." "Human-sized portions?" one of the newcomers asked. "At an alien restaurant?" "We adapted," Zara said simply. "When 40% of your customers are human, you learn to meet their needs." It was true. The past 2 weeks had been a whirlwind of changes. Cork had hired 2 additional cooks, both trained in human cuisine. They'd installed new refrigeration units to handle the massive increase in food storage. The menu now featured an entire section dedicated to Earth dishes, with options for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks clearly marked. "Is that a coffee machine?" Another newcomer spotted the new addition behind the counter. "Industrial grade," Zara confirmed. "Humans, as I learned, also require stimulants multiple times per day. We now serve coffee, tea, and something called energy drinks, though I'm still not sure those are actually safe for human consumption." "They're not," Jake laughed, "but we drink them anyway." Crix floated over with a tray of steaming mugs. He'd become fascinated with human beverage culture and had appointed himself the diner's first Nebulian barista. "Cappuccino with extra foam," he announced proudly, "and a green tea latte with oat milk for the lactose-intolerant human at table 6. "You learned about lactose intolerance?" one of the veterans asked, impressed. "Had to," Crix said. "Day 3, we discovered that 35% of humans can't properly digest dairy. Then we learned about gluten sensitivity, nut allergies, and something called veganism. Do you know how complicated human dietary restrictions are?" "Sorry," Jake said, though he was grinning. "We're not an easy species to feed." "No," Zara agreed. But you're certainly an interesting one. She guided the newcomers to a large table, automatically bringing water. She'd learned to always start with water for humans. As she explained the menu, highlighting which dishes were safe for human consumption and which were definitely not, she reflected on how much had changed. The diner wasn't just busier, it was livelier. Humans brought an energy with them that was infectious. They celebrated small victories with shared meals, conducted business over lunch, and formed friendships during snack breaks. Their constant need for food had created a social hub that the station had never had before. "Zara!" a voice called from across the room. It was Commander Threx, the station's Altarian administrator. "Might I have a word?" Zara excused herself and glided over to Threx's table. The commander's scales were shifting between blue and green, indicating thoughtfulness. "I wanted to thank you," Threx said without preamble. "This establishment has become vital to station morale." "Sir, the human presence has changed everything," Threx explained. "Their social eating habits have created connections between species that never interacted before. Yesterday, I saw a Vordak sharing a table with humans during their afternoon snack. They were actually laughing together." "The Vordak learned that human inefficiency has its own logic," Zara said. "They still think eating 5 times a day is excessive, but they've started joining humans for meals to discuss business. Turns out, humans are more agreeable when well-fed." "Indeed," Threx's scales flickered with amusement. "Productivity is up 15% station-wide. Conflicts are down 20%. All because species are gathering here, sharing meals, learning about each other." "The humans call it breaking bread together," Zara offered. "Whatever they call it, it's working. I'm recommending the Cosmic Diner for a Cultural Bridge Award. You've created something special here." As Threx left, Zara felt a swell of pride. She'd just been trying to understand these strange, constantly eating beings. She never expected to facilitate an interspecies revolution. The lunch rush began, and with it came the familiar chaos she'd grown to love. Orders flew from table to kitchen, Cork's 4 arms moving in perfect synchronization as he prepared dishes from a dozen worlds. The human section was full, but so were the other areas, as curious aliens continued to come see what all the fuss was about. "Order up," Cork called. "Thai green curry, extra spicy, with a side of garlic naan, and someone tell the human at table 12 that combining Earth cuisines from different cultures in one meal is culinary chaos." "They'll love it anyway," Zara laughed, delivering the meal. She paused at the kitchen window. "How are supplies?" "Good for now," Cork replied. "Though I'm concerned about tomorrow. 3 human ships are arriving, and if each has a crew of 30, that's 450 meals per day, not counting snacks," Zara calculated quickly. She'd become an expert at human food math. "We might need to institute shifts," Cork suggested. "Breakfast from Euro 600 to 1000, lunch from 1100 to 1400, dinner from 1700 to 2100. "Humans eat outside those windows too," Zara reminded him. "Midnight snacks, early morning pre-workout meals, late afternoon energy boosts. We need to stay flexible." "Of course they do," Cork sighed, but he was smiling. The challenge had reinvigorated his passion for cooking. A commotion near the entrance caught Zara's attention. A group of Rigelians had entered, their crystalline bodies chiming with agitation. They were known for their precise nature and rigid scheduling. "Is it true?" their leader asked, approaching Zara. "Do humans really consume resources 5 times per day cycle? Every cycle? Without variation?" "Actually, it varies quite a bit," Zara explained. "Sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on activity level, health status, emotional state. Emotional state affects consumption." The Rigelians' harmonics went discordant with shock. "Oh yes," Sarah had overheard and joined the conversation. "Humans eat more when stressed, less when sad, differently when happy. We have comfort foods for bad days and celebration foods for good ones." This is chaos, the Rigelian declared. This is life, Sarah countered. Messy, unpredictable, wonderful life. Want to try some chocolate? It's our species' favorite mood-enhancing food. The Rigelian recoiled, then paused. Mood-enhancing? Technically, it triggers endorphin release, Jake added, joining them. But yeah, it makes us happy. No idea if it works on crystalline beings, though. Within minutes, the curious Rigelians were seated at a table, cautiously sampling human desserts while Sarah and Jake explained the emotional components of human eating. Zara watched with satisfaction as another barrier between species began to crumble. "You've started something," Crix observed, floating beside her. 6 months ago, these species barely acknowledged each other. Now they're sharing meals and comparing biological processes. All because humans can't go more than 3 hours without eating, Zara mused. The afternoon snack crowd arrived right on schedule. Zara had learned to recognize the signs, the slightly distracted looks, the unconscious stomach touching, the gradual decrease in conversation energy. Humans, she'd discovered, had tells when they were hungry. "Protein smoothie with extra banana," she said to Tom before he could order. "And let me guess, you just finished a high-gravity workout?" 2 hours at 1.8 G, Tom confirmed, impressed. "How did you know?" "You're swaying slightly, muscle fatigue from the gravity. Plus, you're here 30 minutes earlier than usual, which means you burned more calories than normal. Extra banana for quick carbohydrates to complement the protein, right?" "You've become quite the human expert," Tom said admiringly. "It's fascinating," Zara admitted. "Your bodies are like complex machines requiring constant maintenance and fuel, yet you've turned that necessity into an art form." Speaking of art, a new voice interjected. It was Chef Marseille, the human who'd been hired to lead the kitchen's Earth cuisine section. "Zara, I wanted to run a new menu idea by you." Chef Marseille was a large human with scarred hands and a constant smile. He'd arrived a week ago and had immediately revolutionized their human food offerings. "What do you have in mind?" Zara asked. "Fusion cuisine," Marseille said excitedly. "Human dishes adapted with alien ingredients. Imagine Centaurian spice-infused ramen, Altarian crystal salt on French fries, vegan protein synthesized into perfect steaks. Would humans eat that? Are you kidding? Humans are the most adventurous eaters in the galaxy. We'll try anything once, twice if it doesn't kill us." "Sometimes even if it does," Jake muttered, remembering an incident with plutonian fire peppers. Zara considered it. It could bring more species together. Familiar human dishes with alien twists. Alien dishes with human preparation methods. "Exactly," Marseille beamed. "Food diplomacy, the universal language." "Do it," Zara decided. "Start with a few dishes, see how they're received." As Marseille rushed back to the kitchen, energized by the possibility, Zara noticed something that would have shocked her 2 weeks ago. It was nearly dinner time, and she was actually looking forward to the rush. The dinner crowd was the most diverse. Humans who'd worked all day came in hungry and social. Night shift workers grabbed breakfast for dinner. Athletes loaded up on proteins and carbohydrates. Families with children navigated the chaos of feeding young humans who seemed to need food every hour. "Miss Zara!" A small human child tugged at one of her tentacles. "Can I have chicken nuggets with alien sauce?" "Maya?" "Don't bother the nice lady," her father said, apologizing. "Sorry, she's obsessed with trying new foods." "It's no bother," Zara assured him. In fact, human children fascinated her. They needed even more frequent feeding than adults, their growing bodies demanding constant fuel. "And yes, Maya, we have chicken nuggets. Would you like to try them with Beetlejuice berry sauce? It's sweet with a little sparkle." "Sparkle food!" Maya squealed with delight. As Zara placed their order, she overheard a conversation at a nearby table that made her pause. "I can't believe how much this place has changed," a Vordak was saying. It was the same one who'd been disgusted by human eating habits 2 weeks ago. When I first heard about humans and their 5 meals a day requirement, I thought it was proof of their inferior evolution. And now? His companion, another Vordak, asked. Now I see the logic. Their frequent consumption creates natural breakpoints in their day. Social bonding opportunities, information exchange, deal-making. Their inefficiency has become a kind of efficiency. You've been eating with them, the second Vordak accused. 3 times now, the first admitted. The conversation is unstimulating, and the food is more enjoyable than I expected. There's something to be said for variety. Zara smiled to herself. If the ultra-efficient Vordak were starting to appreciate human dining culture, anything was possible. The evening continued in what had become the new normal. Organized chaos, cheerful noise, the constant dance of orders and deliveries. 3 different species shared a large table. Brought together by curiosity about human eating habits, a young human couple taught a Centaurian how to use chopsticks. Chef Marseille emerged from the kitchen with samples of his fusion experiments, creating excitement at every table. As the dinner rush finally slowed, Zara found herself with a moment to breathe. She stood at the entrance, watching her transformed diner with pride. "You've done something remarkable here," a familiar voice said. Commander Threx had returned, this time accompanied by several other station officials. "The Council has been observing," another official, a Andromedy, said. "This establishment has become a model for interspecies cooperation. We want to implement similar concepts throughout the station. All because humans need to eat constantly," Threx added, with what passed for a smile among Altarians. "It's more than that," Zara said thoughtfully. "It's because humans turned their biological necessity into something meaningful. They don't just eat to survive. They eat to connect, to celebrate, to comfort, to explore. They've taught us that efficiency isn't everything. Sometimes the journey matters as much as the destination." "Beautifully put," Jake said, approaching with his usual evening snack, some kind of wrapped sandwich he called a burrito. "Though I'd argue we're just making the best of our high-maintenance biology." "Perhaps that's what makes humanity special," the Andromedy suggested. "You've turned your limitations into strengths. Your need for constant food created agriculture, cuisine, and now this." She gestured at the bustling diner. "Don't forget our need for exercise," Tom added, joining the group. "Led to sports, competitions, physical achievements, and our 8 hours of sleep gave us dreams, which inspired art and invention." "Sleep," Zara said suddenly. "That's what I should research next. The human sleep cycle is just as complex as their eating needs." "One obsession at a time," Jake laughed. "You've mastered feeding us. Maybe let someone else figure out our sleep requirements." "Speaking of feeding," another human called from across the room, "any chance of getting some late-night snacks going? It's almost time for 4th meal." 4th meal? Zara thought she'd learned all the standard terms. "Like second breakfast," Jake explained. "But at night. Not everyone does it, but those of us on adjusted schedules sometimes need a midnight meal." "Of course you do," Zara said. But she was already mentally adjusting the diner's hours. Perhaps they needed to stay open continuously. Humans, she'd learned, didn't stop being hungry just because it was night. "I'll talk to Cork about extended hours," she decided. "If we're going to be the station's hub for human dining, we should accommodate all schedules." "You're the best, Zara," several humans chorused. As the evening wound down, though never completely, as humans continued to drift in for late-night snacks, Zara reflected on the transformation of the past 2 weeks. Her small diner had become the unlikely center of a cultural revolution, all because she'd been curious about one human's breakfast habits. "You know what the funny thing is?" Jake said, settling at the counter for a chat. "Humans have been in space for decades. But this is the first place that really gets us. Most alien establishments either don't understand our needs or treat us like we're broken because we need so much maintenance. You're not broken, Zara said firmly. You're beautifully complex. Your bodies might be demanding, but look what you've done with those demands. You've created art, culture, connection. You've turned survival into joy. Now you're making me emotional, Sarah said, joining them. And when humans get emotional, we eat. Got any ice cream? 7 flavors, Zara said proudly, including 2 Earth varieties and 3 fusion experiments. As she served the ice cream, watching her human friends enjoy their 5th meal of the day, Zara marveled at how much her perspective had changed. What had once seemed like an impossible biological burden now looked like an opportunity for connection, for creativity, for community. To humans, Crick said, raising a glass of something in solidarity. The most high-maintenance, inefficient, demanding species in the galaxy. And to the Cosmic Diner, Jake added, raising his spoon, for seeing that as a feature, not a bug. The toast spread throughout the diner, taken up by humans and aliens alike. Glasses, tentacles, appendages, and various manipulation organs raised in celebration of the unlikely bridge that food, consumed 5 times a day, every day without fail, had built between species. Zara looked around at her transformed diner, at the mixed groups sharing meals, at the understanding growing with every shared dish, and felt deep satisfaction. She'd started out trying to understand why humans ate so frequently. She'd ended up discovering something much more important, that sometimes the things that seem like weaknesses can become the greatest strengths. Same time tomorrow? Jake asked as the late crowd finally thinned. And the day after that, Zara confirmed. And 3 hours after that, and 3 hours after that. 5 times a day, every day, the humans said in unison, grinning. 5 times a day, Zara agreed, already looking forward to it. As the last customers filtered out, Cork emerged from the kitchen, exhausted but satisfied. You realize what we've started, don't you? He asked. Every human ship that docks will hear about us. We'll need to expand. Maybe take over the empty shop next door. Maybe the whole level, Zara said dreamily. A human food court with cuisines from all over Earth, places for them to eat, exercise, socialize, a little piece of home among the stars. The Cosmic Diner Empire, Crick suggested, feeding humans across the galaxy 5 times a day. Has a nice ring to it, Zara admitted. As they closed up for the night, or rather prepared for the skeleton crew that would handle the midnight snackers, Zara took one last look at what they'd created. 2 weeks ago, she'd been baffled by human eating habits. Now she couldn't imagine the station without them. 5 times a day, she murmured to herself, still amazed by the number. But now she understood it wasn't really about the food. It was about what happened around the food, the connections, the conversations, the community. Humans had taken their biological necessity and transformed it into something beautiful. And in doing so, they'd transformed her little diner into something beautiful too. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. More humans to feed, more meals to coordinate, more species to introduce to the wonder of human dining culture. But tonight, Zara was content. She'd solved the mystery of human eating habits. More importantly, she'd learned that sometimes the most demanding creatures in the galaxy were also the most rewarding to serve. 5 times a day, every single day, for as long as humans traveled the stars. She wouldn't have it any other way.